listen, I don't hate Bandai. I don't hate Bandai. I hate what they're doing.
I do kind of hate what they're doing. Bandai.
But I don't hate Bandai. This is not a shit on Bandai podcast. But dude,
it kind of is.
You got to call a spade a spade. Like they made a bad decision.
They made a ton of bad decisions, and that's the issue. It's not even like, oh well, like they favored One Piece over us. No, One Piece got shafted just as much as we did. One Piece got shafted in proportion. Like, sure, we see. Well, we got 8 and they got 31. Yeah, that's because our player base is, let's say 5,000 players nationwide to One Piece's 15, 20,000.
Yeah, I would say 20
players nationwide.
Yeah,
like 30 for them is a crime just as much as 8 for us is a crime, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not just like, oh well, like Digimon is dying. Because I saw those comments. I saw y'all making those comments. I refrained from commenting. Digimon's not dying. This isn't just a bad Digimon decision. This is a bad Bandai decision.
I would like to interject. Digimon is not dying. Bandai is trying to fucking kill it. They are actively taking a pillow right now and smothering Digimon with it right now. And they like check every 30 seconds, like, you guys aren't fucking dead yet, and they keep going. They are waterboarding fucking Digimon as a card game. They're like, you guys are still around? Holy fuck. Like, I don't like, they're literally, to me, it almost feels like they're like, let's see how bad things get. Because I guarantee you, they're like, all right, if they're into Digimon, that means they probably like anime. They like anime. That probably means they like One Piece. Let's just push them to One Piece anyways.
Right.
Like I don't fucking get it, bro.
But that's already happened with Dragon Ball, though, right? Like, Dragon Ball was their first game that brought them success, which is what led to Digimon and Battle Spirits and One Piece and all that. And that game now has 2 versions of it, which is crazy, still crazy to me that they even did that. But everyone said every set that comes out, oh, Dragon Ball's dying. They're still printing cards for that. So it's like,
it's because that game is popular. Like, there is a very devoted DBS base.
Yeah,
and like, all the power to them. Like, I'll be honest, like, I really did like DBS as a card game, even in its fucked up power creep state. Like, that game was fun. I get it. I get the hype behind it. That game is great. That being said, like Mike said, Bandai's on an active mission to kill their games. They started it when they brought Battle Spirits over here, because who were they trying to get to play that game? Their own card game players.
Right.
This isn't Japan, right? Like, the big thing in Japan is that you can play multiple card games because there are stores open all the time. They're all in walking distance. They're not too far from each other. And you can just pick up and play whatever you want, whenever you want, at whatever time. You can't do that shit in the US. It ain't that easy. Like, nothing's within walking distance for a lot of us.
It's weird that they like to cannibalize their own games.
Cannibalize is a perfect,
because it's
perfect
like,
saying.
Why would you drop? All right, I get in the beginning. You got Dragon Ball. Oh, this is very successful. Let's try something else. So the next one you do is Digimon, which in the very beginning was definitely successful. And then you make was I know BSS and One Piece came out like the same time. I don't remember which one came out first.
They were close. They were close.
Like, the moment you start, you drop 4 games. I get the idea. They're like, all right, Bandai's thinking is probably like, we got all these card games. You're gonna play one of them, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're gonna still buy from us regardless, and that's all we care about in that sense. But it's like, but when you're doing that, you got 4 games. You got a 5th game coming out soon with Union Arena, and most players don't play more than maybe 2-3 games. Seriously,
yeah, 2 games.
And then maybe if they play other games, it's super casual, or maybe they buy a couple packs here and there, and that's it. Like, absolutely. You get to the point where, like I said, you're cannibalizing your own players. Now your own players gotta be like, all right, which Bandai game I want to play? If they want to play Bandai games, because they don't even have to. You still got Magic, you still got Pokemon, you still got Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And then whatever else that's randomly out there, Vanguard and Flesh and Blood, right? Yeah. You got all this other stuff going on too. So it's not like it's just Bandai with games. You got all these other games too. So like, it's very weird. And so like you get to the point where now we've seen it ourselves. We've seen it as Digimon players. We've seen it ourselves. We had like at least like a 10% of Digimon players just instantly go to One Piece just because One Piece had better pricing for them. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's you're taking one and you go into another. You know, you can't always you can't pay Paul and also pay someone else as well.
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
There you go, right? Like, that's the saying, right? Like
that's the old man
do that. Yeah, it's also an NFL saying quite often because that NFL you're always doing that, right?
Mm.
So like it's so weird how like they just do that, and then now we're at a point where it's like One Piece is their main child, and everything else is like they were like trying to revive Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball is kind of like in this weird state. And Digimon is like One Piece is up here and then Digimon's up here, and then like it goes up here sometimes and then it goes like this a little, then it goes up like this and it's like this, but it stays in this mid-range while you have BSS that way, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just such a weird situation for their card games, and it could eventually just all die and it's just One Piece, and that could be a problem for them too.
I just want to say,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Adrian.
I was gonna say I don't think Bandai ever learned like the core essence of what a successful card game is.
Yep.
People are attracted. People are attracted to anything if it's backed by an intellectual property that's popular, right? So
of course, people
flock to it because of the IP. They hang around because of the game's development, the mechanics, the community, whatever, right? So yeah, okay, well, this is a shiny new toy. Everybody flocked to One Piece. People continue to play that game because the mechanics are solid. They, at the end, there's a point where it's just like, yeah, it's One Piece. I know what I signed up for, but I'm going to continue to play this game because it's organically evolving the mechanics of it. So, like, they never learned that is what keeps people. Like, yes, it's important to have a good IP attached to it, but they never learned that we have to continue building on this positively in order to keep the people. And that's, I don't know how to explain that to them because I can't.
You absolutely nailed what I was going to basically end podcast with. I said when we started talking about Bandai, I love Digimon, but I hate that it's a Bandai property. I hate that I play a Bandai card game because Bandai does not know how to run their card games. Now, they're doing as good a job as they can, like I would say like for 75% of it, right? There's good progress being made, like for us over here on the English side, for our Japanese listeners or anybody who might listen on that side, because apparently we have those now. We have a separate English card game producer. We saw that at Nats, and on that side of it, things look to be good. But I watched the One Piece. They had like a One Piece thing where they talked about reprints and tournaments and all this sort of stuff. And within the One Piece division, like there's the One Piece card game producer, but then obviously there's somebody separate who's heading up the organized play department, and then there's somebody separate who's handling this part. And like, okay, understood, like delegation makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is, number one of my biggest problems with Bandai has always been, why are you not looking at your other games, looking at what has been successful and emulating that? Like, I know part of it is doing parts of Bandai being a Japanese company. If there's one thing that we all know and can agree on with Japanese companies, it's that they're very hard-headed. They're very old and stuck in their ways. They don't change.
Sure.
Innovation is very difficult. Change is like, you have to like drag it out of them. Honda, we're not a car podcast, but Honda's a very big first person I look at when I think of Japanese companies not changing is Honda. I'm not going to talk about it, but if you know. It's like, why? Why are you like this? You look at the difference in. I'm not saying Wizards of the Coast is great, and I can't speak to Wizards of the Coast because I'm not a Magic card game player. And I'm not saying that they're great, but you look at the difference in Japanese company philosophy to every other card game, whether it's Wizards of the Coast, whether it's what's the name? Ravensburger. Fuck Wizards of the Coast. Ravensburger, who runs Lorcana. I don't even know who runs Flesh and Blood, but whoever runs Flesh and Blood, the people who run Grand Archive, what else is popular? Even Bushy, I would say, as fucked as Bushy Road can be, I would say Bushy Road does a better job managing their card games than Bandai. And that's because Bushy Road has run many card games, and they have one that they have had running for the last 15 years somehow. So I don't know how, but they've made it 15-ish years with this card game. And it's done well enough. So even Bushy Road doing a better job than Bandai. Bandai just hasn't, just like Adrian said, they don't know what it takes to be a successful card game company, and they just keep, they're just like, let's roll the dice and let's see if this works. When there's like so many examples, so many things that they could do outside of just playing the RNG game of, running a successful card game, successful card game division, business, etc., organized play, all that jazz. It's just like, why? Sometimes I hate playing Bandai fucking card games. Because they were also, because I'm like, I love everything.
I believe they were the ones that did the Naruto card game back in the day, right?
Yeah, Naruto was big for them before they had to close it up.
That was their that was their child at that time.
Huge.
Naruto was big.
And then they couldn't.
It was.
You had such a big card game that could have, I wouldn't say dethroned, but could have competed with the top 3, and you fumbled the bag with that. Like, you had Naruto, especially during that time frame. Naruto was, that was the big 3: Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. So like, you had an opportunity in your hands. You had gold in your hands, and you just let it.
You had One Piece before it was One Piece.
You let it go. Bye-bye. I don't know why. I didn't play Naruto. I don't know fully what happened. I heard some things what happened, but like, you let that fall out the wayside, and it took 5-10 years before Dragon Ball came out. I think it was
2017.
I always heard
2017 was Dragon Ball, right?
The Naruto card game. They just didn't have the people to support it, because the people that were really into Naruto when that card game came out were basically kids. So it was hard to get a lot of support for it to continue and actually have organized play and all these things. That's what I was
Bandai had actually a lot of their Bandai had the only reason I know this because I people that played Dragon Ball played Naruto before Dragon Ball was a thing, and they would tell me, but Bandai would actually allow their like a small group of players to be involved with their development. So like, they didn't really have like an appointed team for like the Naruto development. So they had like a small player base, like playtest and develop cards and design cards and stuff like that. That's how bare bones their resources were, and then they had to blow it up. But the thing is that when they like trying to revamp it with Dragon Ball was an American game only. DBS wasn't available in Japan. They have a completely different game out there. I think it's like Cardass or whatever it's called. So they started here, and they were successful here from 2017 till about 2019.
2022. Well, I would say
it depends on where you draw the line there, but they were successful for such a long time with just one game because they cared about it. And then it was like, okay, let's destroy this game and branch out, and that's fine. Branching out is normal, but you can't forget like where you started. Like, you can't forget your roots. You got to pay attention to little people, and they just don't do that.
Yeah, it's very easy to get lost in the Bandai verse, and honestly, like, as much as I love Digimon, that is the one thing that would make me drop Digimon. If I see Bandai go in any sort of way where it's like, well, we're going the DBS route, because what they did to DBS was dirty as fuck. They really said, here's a reboot, and we're going to continue printing cards for DBS so that you don't get upset and quit playing our card games altogether. Like, that's the biggest
so weird.
Fuck
that's
you
a weird
I've
thing they
ever seen.
It's so stupid.
That is such a big fuck you to say, we're going to reboot your card game, but we're going to support your card game at least until the end of the year.
I have a lot of bad things to say about Yu-Gi-Oh, to be honest. Like over the years of me playing, like I have a lot of bad things, but like the master rules that they've implemented over the years, like some of them have been awful. Like pendulum format was just a mistake, but they like rectify that. Like they added links back into the game. They added a link format into the game. And like that kind of that link format was literally there because they had fucked the game so bad with pendulums. And then after they had murdered pendulums and like kind of made the game playable again, now the game is like, in my opinion, pretty much unplayable again. It's so fucking bad. But like, at least they can do things like that. Bandai is just like, yeah, we fucked up. We're making a whole new game.
Let's just start all over.
Like
crazy, bro.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll end it there on that note. It's the one thing. I love Digimon. I love Digimon to death. I love Digimon so much, but Bandai will be the death of this game. I think the last time we made this type of podcast where we're like a Bandai talk podcast, I think we said the same exact thing. It's not the card game that will die. It's Bandai that will kill this card game through sheer incompetence. Like nothing. This card game has stood the test of time. Like the fact that there's so many people playing One Piece and you look at these store regionals and we're still capped out. There's a fucking audience, Bandai. There's an audience for the card game, but this card game will die because you don't give two shits. Straight up.
Digimon came out in 2020.
2020.
Yes.
So it's coming up on 5 years. That's around the time where Bandai starts to go. Near. That's when it happens. 5 years is when the window starts to close.
But I don't know. It's unfortunate because I genuinely love the mechanics of this game.
It's a great game
so much. Like I really do love the mechanics. It plays well. It plays so fun. The memory gauge is still the coolest thing that Bandai has done throughout any of the card games they've released so far. One Piece, Dragon Ball, like Battle Spirits, whatever. The memory gauge is like still the coolest fucking thing in any card game I think I've ever played. It's so unique to Digimon, and like you can't take that away. And it's just a genuine shame that they just don't put enough resource into this. I don't know.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, maybe they'll hear this and change.
I think I would have turned the pod off like an hour ago when I said that they.
Wishful thinking, bro.
We're gonna get hit with like a cease and desist because of Mike for saying crazy shit.
Hey, it's freedom of speech, bro. What are you talking
Last time it was Varney saying crazy shit while I was on the pod. This time it's me. Maybe next time I'll be you, Dan.
It's just constructive criticism.
Yeah, maybe you'll say some crazy shit next time.
No, not like that.
Nah, come on. Yeah.
We want you to do better, Bandai, because we know you can.
I don't think Bandai can actually. I think you're you are so optimistic for someone that lived through how bad Dragon Ball became, and it's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I made myself a promise a long time ago. Like after Digimon, like if Digimon goes south and I decide not to play Digimon anymore, I'm just not gonna play card games anymore. Like
I'm at that point too.
I can't. Like Mike said, I cannot like you guys don't understand how invested I was into that game. Dragon Ball, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, is my favorite anime of all time. It was what got me into anime. I have a very soft spot in my heart for it. I remember coming home from school and watching it on Toonami, like all that stuff, right? So when they made a legit game that was enjoyable, the mechanics were great, the art was great. Shout out to they always have great art. Bandai always has great art, except for One Piece.
One Piece art has grown on me.
I was so invested in this game, and then I wasn't, and that's when I was just like, wow, like this is actual heartbreak right now. It sounds cheesy, but it is. And then I started playing Digimon, and I've fallen in love with the game, and I did grow up watching it, and I do love Digimon as an IP. But if it happens again, like fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Like it's not gonna happen a third time. So this is it.